Hello, welcome to day 10 of our adventure through Iceland. We are getting closer to the end. Just got 10, 11, and 12 done, and then we'll be all done with our 12 days of Christmas. Um, let's bring up today's color. Let me share my photo. Uh, Ta-da! It is. Day 10 is called Kvenefri. Hopefully I'm saying that right. No idea. It is like a deep magenta kind of pink. Um, and the inspiration photo for that is this one right here. Um, and this is a protest in Iceland. Um, Let me bring up the the translation for kind of free, because it means Women's Day Off. And this is actually the Icelandic website here. It's a they in 1975, which was, yeah, 1975, a little over 50 years. Yeah, just over 50 years ago, they just had the 50th. All of the women in Iceland like walked out in the middle of the day, whether they had a paid work or unpaid. Like even the mothers who were being stay-at-home moms, like all went and protested in probably I think it was in Reykjavik. And this is what that word means. Kvenefri means Women's Day Off. And that what they're protesting was the gender inequality and pay gap. So in October 24th, 1975, 90% of the women, obviously not 100% of them, because 100% of people agreeing on anything is pretty much impossible, but 90% of them walked out. And they've done it, they don't do it every year. They've done it like 6 times since then. And what I thought was interesting is like, let's see, in 2005, they stopped at 2:08 p.m., which was like, when they like when they're get the amount of pay that demonstrates the amount of inequality in pay. And then like if it's closer, you leave later in the day. So it's like in 2000, that was in 2005, 2010, they did it left at 2:25. In 2016, they left at 2:38. And then 2018, 2:55, to like demonstrate the progress in Iceland toward a gender equality, pay equality at least. And so they have done that like 6 different, I think sometimes, some days they just take a whole day off. And what I found was interesting is that like 5 years after they did this in 1975, they elected their first woman president. And that was like around the same time as Margaret Thatcher, I think. So, 1980-ish. Um, so this color is there to demonstrate, that Iceland is considered um, the most gender equal nations. They're not, they don't even consider, of course, they don't consider themselves to have complete gender equality, but they do strive for it. And obviously they work towards it. And they had another one of these Kavena-free strike days celebrating the 50th anniversary this past October in 2025, because that was the 50th anniversary. And I think they've had their, right now, they had their second woman president. So if equality is a thing that you are interested in, then maybe you'll want to go to Iceland and just see how it's a little different there. And they do have not complete equality, but a lot closer, at least if you under a lot of the metrics. I wanted to show you the chart that I made up for this. Here, I'll share this again. So the chart that I made up is basically like little equal signs right here, little equal signs. Because while this isn't necessarily a place, they do the protest in Reykjavik. I feel like it's an important aspect of their culture that they came from a Viking culture, which I don't know. Like I don't pretend to be an expert on Viking culture. I think in some ways they had some equality with the women in charge of certain things, at least that I've heard. And then other ways, obviously, they didn't, because like Iceland itself was settled by Vikings that brought a lot of Irish women slaves with them. So, but they have strived towards equality in Iceland. So I thought this was a good way to represent it. And then, if you'll remember, if we scroll back to some of these other charts, that was the lupines. This was the ice caves. And then this one was um, the naming committee, which was the Icelandic word that I couldn't say very well. And then this is the book one. And I wanted to show you since I'm doing them out of order. You see, it looks like an open book, like a book that's been opened. And here, now obviously it's not been blocked, but this is how it looks here's the book flood, and here's the ice caves. So you can see like the last few. I really wish I was going to be done with the whole thing by day 12, but alas, I will not be. You can see some of the charts that I've gotten to so far. All right. So I hope you've been enjoying this process and you don't mind that we talked a little bit about gender equality because I thought that I would love to visit Iceland just to see how it might be different than here. It'd be fascinating to me. So I hope you'll join me tomorrow for day 11. We will be getting that much closer to being done. So see you later. Bye.